There's a phrase, a quiet confession whispered at the end of a long day, a response given when a friend asks, "How are you, really?" It is the anthem of the good girl, the mantra of the people-pleaser. 3 simple words that carry the weight of 1,000 unspoken truths. I'm just so tired. It's a tiredness that sleep doesn't seem to fix, a bone-deep weariness that a vacation can't erase. You tell yourself it's burnout, stress, getting older. You try to fix it with more coffee, more exercise, more productivity hacks. But the exhaustion remains, a constant, low-humming companion to your life. What if this tiredness is not what you think it is? What if it's not just a physical state, but a psychic one? What if "I'm so tired" is not just a complaint, but a code? A secret language that your soul is using to communicate a message your conscious mind refuses to hear. Carl Jung believed that the symptoms of our suffering are not random afflictions to be eliminated. They are messages. They are the psyche's attempt to signal an imbalance, to call us back to wholeness. And this profound, unshakable exhaustion is one of the loudest messages of all. It is the language of a suppressed shadow. A shadow that is exhausted from the relentless work of being someone you are not. Today, we will become translators. We will decode the 3 hidden meanings behind the phrase, "I'm so tired." We will learn to listen to our exhaustion, not as a sign of failure, but as a sacred guide. A guide that is pointing the way back to you.
To decode the language of our exhaustion, we must first become auditors of our own energy. Where does it go? What are the invisible tasks that are draining our life force day after day? The first and most profound meaning hidden within the words, "I'm so tired," is this. Meaning number 1, I am tired from the relentless work of pretending. We tend to think of work in physical or intellectual terms. Typing at a computer, lifting heavy objects, solving a complex problem. But there is another form of labor, one that is completely invisible, rarely acknowledged, and utterly draining. It is the emotional labor of maintaining a persona that is not aligned with your authentic self. It is the constant, moment-to-moment effort of pretending. Pretending to be fine when you are not. Pretending to agree when you don't. Pretending to have energy when you are empty. Pretending to be interested when you are bored. Pretending to be okay with something that is in fact violating your boundaries. This is not a passive state. It is an active, energy-consuming job. Let's visualize this. Imagine you are an actor on a stage. Your role is the nice and capable woman. The play runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are no intermissions, there are no days off. From the moment you wake up, you put on your costume and your smiling mask. You go to work and you must perform the role of the cheerful, helpful colleague. You listen to a coworker complain about the same problem for the 20th time. Your authentic self is bored and frustrated, but your persona must perform active listening, nodding, and offering sympathetic platitudes. This performance requires energy. It is a drain on your psychic resources. Your boss adds another project to your already overflowing plate. Your authentic self feels a surge of angry resentment, but your persona must perform gratitude and eagerness, of course, happy to help. This performance requires you to actively suppress the powerful biological energy of anger. Suppressing energy is one of the most tiring things a human being can do. You come home. The performance does not end. Now you must play the role of the patient, ever-giving mother or the supportive, low-maintenance partner. Your child is having a tantrum. Your authentic self feels overwhelmed and touched out. But your persona must perform endless patience. Your partner wants to tell you about their bad day. Your authentic self is so tired it can barely think, but your persona must perform engaged, attentive listening. This performance of emotional availability, when you yourself are emotionally bankrupt, is a massive energy expenditure. Think of your life force as a battery. A normal person's battery is drained by the legitimate tasks of the day: work, chores, caring for family. But the people pleaser has a secret second set of tasks running in the background at all times. A constant, invisible drain on the battery. Every suppressed no, every forced smile, every swallowed feeling, every moment of pretending. It is a withdrawal from your energy account. And you are making dozens, if not hundreds, of these withdrawals every single day. Is it any wonder that by the end of the day, or the end of the week, your battery is not just low, but completely in the red? Pause here and think of your day so far. How many small moments of pretending have you already engaged in? Where have you presented a version of yourself that was not aligned with your true internal feeling? Be honest and gentle with yourself. There is no judgment here, only recognition. This exhaustion is not just mental, it is physical. The brain consumes a tremendous amount of glucose to perform the cognitive tasks of self-regulation and suppression. When you are constantly overriding your natural impulses, you are, quite literally, burning through your body's fuel at an accelerated rate. This is why you might crave sugar or carbohydrates when you are emotionally exhausted. Your brain is screaming for more fuel to continue the exhausting job of pretending. Let's consider Chloe again. She has a friend who is notoriously flaky. This friend, let's call her Amanda, cancels plans at the last minute, constantly. This weekend they had plans for a hike. Chloe was looking forward to it. An hour before they're meant to meet, Amanda texts, "So sorry, something came up. Rain check?" Chloe feels a hot flash of anger and deep disappointment. Her inner voice screams, "This is the 5th time. I'm done." But the good girl program takes over. The fear of conflict, the fear of being seen as demanding or not easygoing, is too strong. So she texts back, "No worries at all. Hope everything's okay. Let's definitely do it soon. XOX." The text is perfect. It is kind, understanding, and conflict-free. But the energetic cost of sending that text message is immense. To write those words, she had to actively suppress the powerful physiological surge of her anger, override her legitimate feeling of disappointment, perform a feeling of understanding and kindness that she did not feel, lie about her desire to do it soon, when in fact she feels like never making plans with Amanda again. That single text message probably cost her more energy than a 1-hour workout at the gym. And she will perform dozens of similar emotional labors throughout her day. Then at night, she will lie in bed wondering why she is profoundly, inexplicably tired. She is not tired for no reason. She is tired because being an actor 24/7 is the most exhausting job in the world. The exhaustion you feel is not a sign that you are weak or lazy. It is a testament to how hard you have been working. It is the cry of your authentic self, which is suffocating under the weight of the mask. It is the voice of your shadow, whispering the first of its secret truths. I am not just tired. I am tired of this. I am tired of the performance.
We have seen how the constant performance of the persona drains your energy account, but there is another, equally exhausting, invisible job that the people pleaser performs. a job so deeply ingrained you may not even recognize it as work. This brings us to the second hidden meaning behind the words, "I'm so tired." Meaning number 2, I am tired from the weight of carrying everyone else's feelings. Think of your emotional capacity as a container. A person with healthy boundaries understands that their container is for their feelings. They understand that other adults are responsible for their own containers. They can offer empathy, support, and compassion from their own full cup, but they do not take on the responsibility of carrying someone else's emotional baggage. The people pleaser, however, operates from a different blueprint. Because of the good girl archetype and the trauma response we've discussed, she has been conditioned to believe that she is responsible for the emotional state of everyone around her. If someone is unhappy, it feels like a personal failure, a threat. So her job becomes to manage, soothe, and regulate the feelings of others. She becomes a walking repository for unresolved emotional energy. Her container is not just for her own feelings, it is a public storage unit for the feelings of her partner, her children, her parents, her friends, and her colleagues. And it is crushingly heavy. Let's look at this in action. Let's talk about Jessica, 38, who works in human resources. She goes to a family dinner. Her brother starts complaining about his job. He is angry and bitter. Instead of just listening, Jessica feels an immediate, compulsive need to fix it. She starts offering solutions, making suggestions, trying to cheer him up. She is, in effect, trying to take his anger out of his container and put it into hers, because his anger makes her feel unsafe. This is exhausting work. Then, her mother starts expressing anxiety about her health. Jessica's nervous system goes on high alert. She spends 20 minutes reassuring her mother, promising to make doctor's appointments, calming her down. She has now taken on her mother's anxiety. On the car ride home, her partner is silent and moody. Instead of allowing him to have his own feelings, Jessica's mind starts racing. Is he mad at me? Did I say something wrong? She starts probing, asking questions, trying to manage his mood to restore her own sense of safety. By the time she gets home, she feels a profound and bewildering exhaustion. She wasn't digging ditches or running a marathon. She was simply carrying the emotional weight of 3 other adults for an entire evening. Her own feelings, her own needs for the evening were completely ignored. They had no space in a container already overflowing with the feelings of others. This is a form of energetic vampirism, but you are a willing participant. You have been trained to offer up your own life force to stabilize the people around you. This is one of the most subtle and damaging aspects of the people-pleasing trauma response. It creates a chronic state of energetic depletion. You feel drained because you are being drained. You are leaking energy all day long, trying to plug the emotional holes in everyone else's boats, while your own is slowly sinking. Pause and consider your own relationships. Whose feelings do you feel responsible for? When someone you love is upset, do you feel an immediate urge to fix it, or can you allow them to have their own experience? How much of your daily energy is spent anticipating and managing the moods of others? This dynamic is rooted in a core belief implanted in childhood. My needs don't matter as much as theirs. And a core fear, if I don't keep them happy, they will leave me. So you become an emotional contortionist, twisting yourself into whatever shape is required to maintain a feeling of peace and connection. This isn't just about big, dramatic events. It's about the microtransactions of everyday life. It's the energy it takes to listen to a friend's story with a supportive smile, when inside, you are feeling bored or disagree with them. It's the energy it takes to absorb your partner's stress after a long day without ever having space to talk about your own. It's the energy it takes to pretend you're not hurt by a thoughtless comment because you don't want to make a scene. Each of these moments is a small act of self-betrayal. And the cumulative weight of these betrayals is the exhaustion you feel in your bones. The path to healing this pattern is not to become cold or uncaring. It is not about ceasing to be an empathetic person. It is about learning the critical difference between empathy and enmeshment. Empathy says, I can sit with you in your darkness, but I will not take it on as my own. I can hold your hand while you are in the fire, but I will not set myself on fire with you. Enmeshment says, your darkness is my darkness. Your fire is my fire. I must fix you to make myself feel safe. The work begins with the practice of creating an energetic boundary. It is the conscious choice to say, internally, that is your feeling, and this is my feeling. I can love you and support you without carrying your emotional weight for you. It is learning to tolerate the discomfort of someone else's unhappiness without immediately making it your problem to solve. This is incredibly difficult at first. It will feel selfish. It will feel wrong. The fawn response in your nervous system will scream at you to go back to the old way, to fix, to soothe, to manage. But with practice, you begin to build a new capacity, a capacity to be present with others without losing yourself. You start to reclaim the enormous amount of energy you have been expending on this invisible, unpaid, and soul-crushing job. And you start to realize that the exhaustion you feel is not a permanent state of being. It is the direct result of a job you can, in fact, learn to quit. It is the voice of your shadow, whispering its second truth. I am not just tired. I am tired for them. And I can't do it anymore.
We have audited the energy leaks. We have seen how exhaustion stems from the performance of the persona and from the invisible labor of carrying the emotional weight of others. These are massive drains on your system. But there is a third, deeper, and more existential layer to this tiredness. It is a depletion that goes beyond the psychological and into the realm of the spiritual. This leads us to the third and most profound meaning hidden in the words, I'm so tired. Meaning number 3, I am tired from the spiritual emptiness of living an inauthentic life. Carl Jung believed that every human being is born with a unique blueprint for their own becoming, a seed of their true self. The ultimate journey of life, which he called individuation, is the process of allowing that seed to grow into its fullest, most authentic expression. This journey requires us to listen to the whispers of our own soul, to follow our own unique path, to honor our own values and desires, even when they conflict with the expectations of our family or our culture. Living in alignment with this inner blueprint is what creates a sense of meaning, purpose, and vitality. It is what fills our energetic well. The people pleaser, however, has been conditioned to do the exact opposite. Her life is not lived from the inside out, guided by her own inner compass. It is lived from the outside in, guided by the needs, expectations, and approval of others. She has abandoned her own path to walk a path that was chosen for her by someone else. She has silenced the voice of her own soul to better hear the voices of those around her. This is not just a psychological problem. It is a spiritual crisis. It is the ultimate act of self-abandonment. And the exhaustion that results from this is a form of spiritual starvation. Let's make this tangible. Think of a person's life force as a current of electricity. When you are living authentically, making choices aligned with your true values, spending time on things that genuinely light you up, expressing your unique gifts, the current flows freely. You feel energized, alive, even when you are physically tired. There is a sense of rightness to your life. But when you are living an inauthentic life, you are constantly forcing this current to flow in directions it was not meant to go.
Every choice that betrays your inner truth creates a resistance in the circuit. Think of David, who we met earlier. He became a corporate lawyer to please his high-achieving parents, but his true soul's calling was to be a high school history teacher. Every day he spends in the law office, drafting contracts and arguing cases he doesn't care about, is an act of inauthenticity. He's good at his job, he is successful, but he's profoundly, soul-crushingly tired. His exhaustion is not from the long hours. It is from the spiritual friction of forcing his life force down a path that is not his own. He's living someone else's definition of a successful life, and the dissonance is draining his very soul. Or consider Jessica, who we saw carrying the emotional weight of her family. Her authentic self is an introvert who craves solitude, nature, and quiet creativity. But she has spent her life forcing herself to be an extrovert to please her sociable family and friends. She goes to loud parties she hates. She makes small talk that feels like chewing on glass. She says yes to every invitation out of fear of being seen as antisocial or boring. Her exhaustion is the result of her soul's silent protest. It is the cry of her true nature, which is being systematically starved of the very things it needs to thrive: solitude and peace. This is the deepest layer of the people-pleaser's fatigue. It is a soul sickness. It is the emptiness that comes from a life devoid of personal meaning. You can have a perfect-looking life on the outside, the successful career, the beautiful family, the lovely home, and still feel a profound sense of inner deadness. This is because the persona can achieve external success, but only the authentic self can experience true internal fulfillment. Pause and ask yourself these deep questions. If I were not afraid of what anyone would think, what would I do differently with my life? What activities make me lose track of time and feel truly alive? How often do I do them? What is a secret, buried dream that I have never told anyone for fear of it being seen as silly or impractical? The answers to these questions are clues. They are messages from your soul about the path you have abandoned. The path back to energy, to vitality, is not about finding a better sleep aid or a new vitamin supplement. It is about embarking on the journey of authenticity. This does not mean you must immediately quit your job and move to another country, though for some it might eventually lead there. It begins with small, courageous acts of honoring your true self. It's about taking that pottery class you've always been curious about, even if your family thinks it's a waste of time. It's about admitting to yourself that you actually dislike going to big parties and giving yourself permission to stay home with a good book instead. It's about starting to make choices, however small, based on what feels true and alive for you, not on what you think you should do. Each of these small acts of authenticity is like a drop of clean water in a stagnant well. It begins to replenish your life force. It begins to dissolve the exhaustion. Because you are no longer fighting the current of your own being. You are learning to flow with it. You are starting to live the life you were meant to live. And there is nothing in the world more energizing than that. This is the third and most profound secret that your exhaustion is trying to tell you. It is the voice of your shadow, which holds all your buried dreams, whispering, "I am not just tired, I am starving for a life that is truly mine."
We began this conversation with a simple, common phrase. "I'm just so tired." A phrase we often dismiss as a mere physical complaint. But we have journeyed beneath the surface of those words. We have learned to translate them. We discovered that this exhaustion is a language, a secret language of a suppressed shadow. We decoded its three primary meanings. First, I am tired from the relentless work of pretending, the psychic drain of maintaining a persona that is not you. Second, I am tired from the weight of carrying everyone else's feelings.
the energetic depletion from a lifetime of emotional caretaking. And third, the deepest truth. I am tired from the spiritual emptiness of living an inauthentic life. The soul starvation that comes from abandoning your own path. To understand this is to change your relationship with your exhaustion forever. It is no longer a sign of your weakness or failure. It is no longer something to be pushed through with more caffeine or willpower. Your exhaustion is now your teacher. It is your most loyal and honest guide. It is a sacred messenger from the deepest part of you, a part that has never stopped fighting for your attention, for your wholeness. It is the voice of your soul saying with unwavering clarity, "Something is wrong. This is not the way. This is not your life." The path to renewed energy, then, is not found in a pill or a productivity hack. It is found in the courageous act of listening. Listening to your body. Listening to your feelings. Listening to the quiet, persistent whispers of your authentic self. The journey is not about adding more to your life. It is about subtracting. Subtracting the performance. Subtracting the emotional weight of others. Subtracting the choices that betray your soul. It is about creating space. Space for stillness. Space for rest. Space for your true self to finally breathe. This is a profound shift. It is the beginning of life lived from the inside out. But this new awareness brings a new question. We have identified the signs of the shadow. We have decoded the language of our exhaustion. We now understand the what and the why. But what about the how? How exactly do we begin this work of listening? What are the practical, daily tools we can use to start this conversation with our own shadow? How do we create a safe space to meet these exiled parts of ourselves without becoming overwhelmed? The work of self-discovery requires not just insight, but also instruments. It requires a practice. And two of the most powerful and time-honored instruments for this inner journey are the practices of journaling and dream work. These are the tools that allow us to bypass the defenses of the conscious mind and communicate directly with the unconscious. They are the methods for translating the symbolic language of the soul. So, what is shadow work in a practical sense? And how do you use a journal to begin? That is the critical, foundational question we will answer in our next conversation. It is time to move from understanding the map to taking out our tools and beginning the excavation.